Willie Nelson is an American singer, guitarist and songwriter. He was one of the main figures of the outlaw country subgenre that developed in the late 1960s as a reaction to the conservative restrictions of the Nashville sound. Born April 29, 1933, age 91 years, Abbott, Texas, United States. Spouse, Annie D'Angelo, M. 1991, see more. Music groups, The Highwaymen 1985 to 1995, Family. Children, Lucas Nelson, Micah Nelson, Billy Nelson, Paula Nelson, Amy Lee Nelson, Lana Nelson, Susie Nelson. Height, 1.68 meters. Willie Nelson net worth $25 million. Personal life. Nelson has been married 4 times and has 8 children. His first marriage was to Martha Matthews from 1952 to 1962. The couple had 3 children, Lana, Susie, and Willie Billy Hugh Jr. The latter died by suicide in 1991. The marriage was marked by violence, with Matthews assaulting Nelson several times, including one incident when she sewed him up in bedsheets and beat him with a broomstick. Nelson's next marriage was to Shirley Colley in 1963. The couple divorced in 1971 after Colley found a bill from the maternity ward of a Houston hospital charged to Nelson and Connie Koepke for the birth of Paula Carlene Nelson. Nelson married Koepke the same year, and they had another daughter, Amy Lee Nelson. Following a divorce in 1988, he married his current wife, Annie D'Angelo, in 1991. They have 2 sons, Lucas Autry and Jacob Micah. In 2012, Nelson learned that he fathered a daughter with his friend Mary Haney. Born on January 22, 1953, Renee Butts, born Linda Renee Barley, met Nelson and she shared a picture of both of them on Father's Day in 2016. Butts died in 2017. Nelson owns Luck, Texas, a ranch in Spicewood, and also lives in Maui, Hawaii, with several celebrity neighbors. While swimming in Hawaii in 1981, Nelson's lung collapsed. He was taken to the Maui Memorial Hospital and his scheduled concerts were cancelled. Nelson temporarily stopped smoking cigarettes each time his lungs became congested, and resumed when the congestion ended. He was then smoking between 2 and 3 packs per day. After suffering from pneumonia several times, he decided to quit either marijuana or tobacco. He chose to quit tobacco. In 2008, he started to smoke marijuana with a carbon-free system to avoid the effects of smoke. In 2004, Nelson underwent surgery for carpal tunnel syndrome as he had damaged his wrists by continuously playing the guitar. On the recommendation of his doctor, he canceled his scheduled concerts and only wrote songs during his recovery. In 2012, he canceled a fundraising appearance in the Denver area. He suffered from breathing problems due to high altitude and emphysema and was taken to a local hospital. His publicist Elaine Schock confirmed soon after that Nelson's health was good and that he was heading to his next scheduled concert in Dallas, Texas. After repeated instances of pneumonia and emphysema through the years, Nelson underwent stem cell therapy in 2015 to improve the state of his lungs. During his childhood, Nelson grew interested in martial arts. He ordered self-defense manuals on jiu-jitsu and judo that he saw advertised in Batman and Superman comic books. Nelson started to formally practice kung fu after he moved to Nashville in the 1960s. During the 1980s, Nelson began training in Taekwondo and now holds a second-degree black belt in that discipline. During the 1990s, Nelson started to practice the Korean martial art Gongkwan Yusul. In 2014, after 20 years in the discipline, his Grandmaster Sam presented him with a 5th-degree black belt in a ceremony held in Austin, Texas. A 2014 Taekwondo Times magazine interview revealed that Nelson had developed an unorthodox manner of training during the lengthy periods of time he was on tour. Nelson would conduct his martial arts training on his tour bus The Honeysuckle Rose and send videos to his supervising master for review and critique. In March 2021, I'll Be Seeing You, a new original by Nelson, was used on a public service announcement by the Ad Council to encourage COVID-19 vaccination in the United States. Earlier in January 2021, Nelson and his sister received the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. In May 2022, Nelson postponed several shows after he contracted COVID-19. Nelson's wife detailed that he was severely affected by the illness, and that he received a treatment including Paxlovid, monoclonal antibodies, and steroids. Nelson resumed his tour in September 2022. During June 2024, Nelson had to cancel his performances at Outlaw Music Festival due to health complications and was ordered to rest for 4 days by a doctor. Early life. Nelson as a junior at Abbott High School, top, pictured in 1949. Nelson's high school football portrait, bottom, c. 1950. Nelson was born in Abbott, Texas, on April 29, 1933, the son of Ira Doyle Nelson and Marl Murray, née Greenhaw. His birthday was incorrectly recorded by Dr. F. D. Sims as April 30. He was named Willie by his cousin Mildred, who also chose Hugh as his middle name in honor of her recently deceased younger brother. Nelson traces his genealogy to the American Revolutionary War, in which his ancestor John Nelson served as a major. His parents moved to Texas from Arkansas in 1929 to look for work. His grandfather, William, worked as a blacksmith, while his father worked as a mechanic. His mother left soon after he was born, and his father remarried and also moved away, leaving Nelson and his sister Bobby to be raised by their grandparents, who taught singing back in Arkansas and started their grandchildren in music. Nelson's grandfather bought him a guitar when he was 6, and taught him a few chords, and Nelson sang gospel songs in the local church alongside Bobby. He wrote his first song at age 7, and when he was 9, he played guitar for a local band Bohemian Polka. During the summer, the family picked cotton alongside other Abbott residents. Nelson disliked picking cotton, so he earned money by singing in dance halls, taverns, and honky-tonks from age 13, which he continued through high school. His musical influences were Jimmie Rodgers, Hank Williams, Bob Wills, Lefty Frizzell, Ray Price, Ernest Tubb, Hank Snow, Django Reinhardt, Frank Sinatra, and Louis Armstrong. Music career. Beginnings, 1956 to 1971. Nelson was hired by KVAN in Vancouver, Washington, and appeared frequently on a television show. He made his first record in 1956, No Place for Me, that included Leon Payne's Lumberjack on the B-side. The recording failed. Nelson continued working as a radio announcer and singing in Vancouver clubs. He made several appearances in a Colorado nightclub, later moving to Springfield, Missouri. After failing to land a spot on the Ozark Jubilee, he started to work as a dishwasher. Unhappy with his job, he moved back to Texas. After a short time in Waco, he settled in Fort Worth and quit the music business for a year. He sold Bibles and vacuum cleaners door to door, and eventually became a sales manager for the Encyclopedia Americana.